Today's video is for my queer friends in straight relationships. Hi! I've been in a straight relationship for almost 6.5 years and it's been great. My partner is my best friend and we could talk forever and it would not get boring, ever. But my partner also happens to be a cisgender straight man. Yeah, and there are two things I want to talk about today. The first being the straight relationship stereotype and the queer experience. Let me be clear here. I'm not with my partner because he is a straight man or a man at all. I'm with him because I like the person and I can imagine spending my entire life with said person. There are a lot of people who have something against straight males, which I totally understand. Actually, I don't totally understand it. I understand the prejudice that might come with a straight man, but I don't understand hating someone just because they are something that they cannot change. We're here to hate the patriarchy and not to hate random people who try to not be part of the problem. But we all know that, right? This might sound very weird, but being in a straight relationship, often think about what other people might think about me being in a straight relationship. Not that I really care about what other people think of me, but I like to see myself from the outside and think about the assumptions that might come with that, which might be anxiety related, but more about that in a minute. I personally don't like the stereotypical straight relationship. I hate the assumption that a woman getting married to a man means game over and that the woman is trapping the man and that the man is now not free to do whatever he wants because he is in this relationship. I don't like it. I'm sorry, but it takes two to tango, right? Also, the woman cleaning while the man sits in front of the TV and the woman is always unhappy and complaining about her miserable life while the man goes out with his bros and drinks beer. I don't like it. You might like it. I would hate that for me. In my life, there are a few people who might fit into this relationship category, and if they are fine with it, if they are satisfied, that's completely fine with me. But I myself never want to fit in there, and I probably never will. And being aware of these stereotypes makes me hyper aware of how I interact with my partner, which might just be something that brings me stress and nothing else. I honestly don't know. That's why when I'm in public with my partner, it's kind of hard. I always have in the back of my mind, oh no, I don't want us to come off as that, stereotypical heterosexual couple, because we are far from that. One half of this relationship is 100% queer. It's just not necessarily visible from the outside. And now you might say, but so what if it came off as exactly that, as a stereotypical heterosexual couple? I think with the heterosexual couple stereotype comes a lot of sexism and misogyny and patriarchal standards that I really disagree with. And obviously, I try to detach myself from that at all times. And if I was in a queer relationship, that would be much more obvious from the outside, I think. But of course, other problems would come with that. That's why I'm extremely happy about the fact that my boyfriend or fiance embraces femininity or things that have been seen as feminine in the past, like makeup, nail polish, the color pink, etc. He's really self-confident and always tries to understand and learn more about social issues, which should be normal and should not be praised, but unfortunately masculinity seems to be largely one-dimensional and kind of fragile. I think it's great that with platforms like TikTok, there are so many straight cisgender men who like traditionally feminine things. And I've seen so many straight couples normalizing healthy dynamics. But obviously, the opposite is also true. Like women reading their boyfriend's texts and finding out that he's cheating, or him seeing a positive pregnancy test and getting really, really angry. Just very toxic stuff that only pushes the unhappy straight couple stereotype. Of course, queer relationships can also be toxic, but that's not the focus of this video. But no, we are not in a straight relationship because we want to be in a straight relationship, but because we have found each other and we really, really like each other. Our personalities complement each other and we drive each other to become better people, which is 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. But still, I sometimes wonder, do people assume a certain relationship type just because we look a certain way? I mean, I hope not. And I know I shouldn't care about what other people think, and honestly, it doesn't really affect me at all, but I do tend to care when I think it might be affecting them. So the way I care about what other people think is, what do they see in me that they might think should also be that way for them? I realize that looking like you might fit into a certain relationship type is kind of a non-issue, but for me, it is an issue because I never ever want other people to think that being even kind of unhappy in a relationship is normal, that not talking about your issues is normal, that resenting your partner is normal. But more often than not, these assumptions come with straight relationships. And I don't want to represent that, so I sometimes, not always, but sometimes go out of my way and try to let people know that we do not, in fact, fit into that cliche, that we do talk and we do have that healthy dynamic, and that being in a straight relationship does not mean inequality in any way. These are things that are always kind of in the back of my mind. I don't always think about this. It's not something that concerns me at all times, but it's in the back of my mind, especially when we go out. I am not straight just because I'm in a straight relationship. Many people assume that I'm straight, be it my relatives or people who do not know me at all, or someone asking me, "Are you still bi?" because I'm in a straight relationship. I am a woman and I am in a relationship with a man. I am not straight and I never have been. I live the queer experience every single day, even if you might think I don't. And no, I do not have it so much easier because I can be straight passing. And besides, since when do we compare how hard people have it? Everyone has different things to worry about. And just because I can be straight passing doesn't mean that I am, and it also doesn't mean that my identity completely shifts depending on who I'm with, because it doesn't. And I think that most of us queer people who are in straight relationships have had this experience, especially those that have never been in a queer relationship. The amount of times I've heard people invalidating a queer person's identity just because of their dating history is quite incredible. But here's another thing. My boyfriend or fiance is a great person. I love him to death and I would never trade him for anyone else. But he's also a straight person, which means that I am the only queer person in this relationship. So I am the only one living the queer experience. So we don't share that. And I'm not saying that I miss it, but it is something that is missing from this relationship. But the same thing would go the other way around. If I was in a queer relationship, I wouldn't have the perspective of someone who isn't queer. And side note, what is a queer relationship? I could say that we are in a queer relationship because I am half of this relationship and I'm queer. But anyway, it's also nice to surround yourself with people who have had experiences similar to yours. And that's why many of my friends, I think most of my friends, are not straight. It's because I can so easily empathize with people who have had experiences that are similar to mine. But no, it shouldn't matter, and we shouldn't have to define ourselves as queer and not queer, and gay and not gay, and whatever. I know that, but sadly, we are not at that point yet. At least I don't think we are. And being queer or being part of the LGBTQIA+ community means having had some thought, at the very least, of, oh wait, I am not actually exactly what society expects me to be, sexuality or gender identity wise. And I think that's part of the queer experience. Many times straight people have not thought, or have not thought much about their identity in that regard. And that's cisgender straight people, of course. And I think the society we live in a society, oh God, no. But actually, in the environment that we are currently living in, we still have to think about what it means to be queer. And I think it's going in the right direction, but also we have recently seen developments that go in the opposite direction, that are less than ideal and actually quite horrible. So that's what I mean by the queer experience, having to think about sexuality and gender identity in regards to yourself. So not sharing the queer experience with your partner in a straight relationship is not that big of a deal, but it also kind of is. You always know in the back of your mind that this is not quite the way it should be. We should all be living the human experience. It shouldn't matter, but it still does. We still experience the world differently just because of our sexuality or gender identity. And ultimately, the whole sharing of queer experience is rooted in heteronormativity and being different, I think. And I think it's a good indicator of the fact that there is still so much that needs to change. But yeah, I think I forgot to mention so many things, but these are my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know. And I'll see you soon. Bye!